Today on Health Spark, I'm going to show you how to make a delicious, immune healthy smoothie. So stay tuned. Hello, welcome back. I'm so glad you're here. Today I'm going to share my favorite breakfast to give me all the nutrients and vitamins I need to start my day and to show some love to my immune system. So the first thing I start with in my smoothie is some almond milk. You may choose to use another type of milk. I prefer almond milk because it's rich in vitamin D. Now, you want to watch shelf-stable almond milks because they unfortunately have a preservative added called carrageenan. Carrageenan actually comes from seaweed, and while it is great for preserving, it is not good for our gut health. It is inflammatory and not a gut-friendly substance, so you really want to avoid that. There are lots of different nut milks out there. Ideally, what you want to look for, though, is one that has fewer ingredients on the list. So ideally, without the added gums and other factors. So I use unsweetened almond milk in my smoothie as my base. All right, next I'm going to add a banana. Banana has so many amazing benefits. First of all, banana is loaded with potassium, which is great for heart health. Potassium can also help you from losing calcium through urine, which means it also prevents kidney stones and helps you to keep more calcium in your body so that you can absorb it to help with bone health. Because bananas have a natural balance of sugar and fiber, they are great for keeping our blood sugar levels stable, and they act as a natural prebiotic to feed the helpful bacteria in our gut. Having a natural balance of sugar and fiber also makes bananas great for energy. So when you're feeling that 3 p.m. slump, grab a banana instead of caffeine or a sweet treat, and it will give you a natural boost through the end of your day. It's almost like nature's energy bar or energy drink. Bananas also contain vitamin B6, which helps to boost our immune system. And vitamin B6 plays a role in regulating our blood sugars. Another great thing about bananas is that they actually help to enhance the mucus layer in your stomach. Why that's important is because it's protecting the lining of your stomach from the acids used to digest our food. So eating bananas can actually help to reduce acid reflux, heartburn, and even help long-term in the prevention of stomach ulcers. Now, there has also been some amazing research that has shown that eating ripe bananas that actually have brown spotting starting to happen on them includes an amazing compound called TNF-A, which is tumor necrotic factor A. And tumor necrotic factor is a compound that actually helps in our body to seek out tumors or tumor-causing cells that have sort of gone awry and are damaged and or reproducing at a speed that's not natural and healthy for our body. It will seek these out and attach to them to signal our immune system to come in and to get rid of them, to clean out the trash. And so bananas can help reduce your risk of getting certain types of cancer. Pretty incredible. Bananas also contain an amazing array of other vitamins and nutrients to support our overall health, and they contain tryptophan. And tryptophan is what our body uses to create serotonin. So if you're feeling stressed, eat a banana. The next thing I'm going to add is a dash of cinnamon. Now, cinnamon is rich in antioxidants for your body. These antioxidants are believed to also help regulate our blood sugar and boost our immune system. So they are anti-inflammatory. They help to reduce inflammation in our body. Next, I'm going to add a few scoops of collagen. Collagen is the most abundant protein in our bodies. It accounts for about 30% of our body's total protein. We use collagen to build skin, muscles, hair, nails. Even our tendons, ligaments, and connective tissues are built on the backs of our collagen protein. So I'm adding 4 scoops, which for me, this is about 20 grams of protein. And I've talked in previous episodes about the importance of ensuring we have enough protein in our diet every day to maintain our muscle health. And not just the muscles we use for flexing or looking good in a bathing suit, but our skeletal muscles, which actually help with daily movement and function. As we age, these are naturally become smaller and we lose muscle, something called sarcopenia. And so ensuring that we get protein in our main meals every single day will help to slow down or even reverse this muscle loss that happens naturally as we age. And I don't mean starting in your 40s. I mean starting as early as in your 20s. Truly, once we have hit adulthood, then that decline slowly starts to begin. And often we don't see any impacts of that. We're unaware it's happening until we get to a certain age where we notice the frailty or our inability to perform daily routine acts that once were easy and things we didn't even have to think about. So protein is definitely a key for me in my morning smoothie. The next thing I'm going to add is a couple twists of salt. And as I've said before, if you are eating whole foods made at home, then chances are you might not be getting enough salt in your diet. And salt is extremely important to help our body with hydration. So salt helps to regulate how much water we maintain within our cells, as well as surrounding our cells. Now, I know there used to be a big belief that eating salt would increase our blood pressure. We know now that this was incorrect. And actually eating high amounts of sugar are far more detrimental to our blood pressure and heart health than eating salt. If we eat too much salt, we actually will urinate it out. But when we are eating sugar, it is keeping high levels of salt in our body and not allowing us to utilize it the way we are meant to. So salt got a bad rap for sugar. The next thing I'm going to add is some creatine. Now, if you don't take any supplements, this may seem like a lot and overwhelming. My suggestion is to pick one and start there. So if you do not take any supplements and this seems just like too much for you, I suggest just adding collagen so that you are getting that protein, because that is the number one important supplement that I would suggest you start with in your health. And you can always come back and add later. But when making changes, if we start small and we build from there, we're more likely to be successful with the change and not feel overwhelmed and quit. And so the key here is about consistency. So taking many small actions over time often equals a much greater success than one big drastic change. That's much harder to maintain, and doing something really great 4 or 5 times is not going to move the needle as doing small actions again and again and again and again in terms of our overall health. I add creatine because, again, creatine helps us to use the protein that we are digesting in our body. So to go along with my collagen, I have creatine every day because I want to utilize the protein I am digesting to the best of its ability to allow my body to continue to build and not lose muscle. And this isn't just for bodybuilders. Anyone who wants to maintain mobility and health, this is a great supplement that you can add. And it's very inexpensive, and 1 scoop goes a long way. The last thing I add, which I've talked about in a previous episode, is L-glutamine. L-glutamine is an amazing supplement that does lots of great things, but the main thing that I care about is that it helps to repair and build the lining of my intestinal walls. So we know if we have an autoimmune disease, there's a very good chance we have or have had leaky gut, meaning that the membranes in our intestines, the walls have become unhinged. The gaps have become larger, which has allowed different foods and things we are digesting to get through, to permeate those walls and get into our body, causing our immune system to attack them and create antibodies, which means that our body is seeing these proteins and things that are getting through as enemies, as foreign objects. And so many autoimmune diseases, as well as sensitivities and allergies, psoriasis, eczema, all of these things often come from having an over-permeable or loose junctions in the walls of our intestines. And so L-glutamine, I like to think of it as the glue. It gets in there and helps to create proteins to tighten those junctions in the walls, the lining of our intestines. So this is really good for intestinal health, which means it's really good for immune health, because we know that the vast majority of our immune system actually resides in our intestines, in our gut, our digestive tract. So I like to add a scoop of that to help keep those junctions tight and keep my immune system healthy. And then the last few things I'm going to add is a scoop of blueberries and a scoop of strawberries. I like to use frozen fruit because it's always easy to keep on hand. And of course I get organic. I don't want added pesticides to my morning smoothies, but I also love that frozen fruit are not picked pre-ripened and then ripened on the way to the grocery store. Frozen fruit are allowed to usually ripen right up until it's time to be picked on the vine or on the tree or the bush or wherever they grow. And then they are flash frozen, which means they are super ripe and have lots of great nutrients just waiting for me to digest. So I'm gonna throw those in there. The last thing I'm gonna add to my smoothie is my probiotics. Now I get tailored probiotics created for me by a company called Viome. I've talked about them before, and I only talk about them because truly they have made a massive difference for me with my autoimmune disease. I started taking these last year, so almost a year ago now. And before I began them, my C-reactive protein, which is a general marker of inflammation in your body. And if you have an autoimmune disease, you've probably had this measured in your blood work, and you probably continue to have it measured regularly. It gives the doctors a sense of what's going on with your autoimmune disease without really having to get too invasive. So my C-reactive protein was at 12, which honestly with Crohn's is not a horrible number. I was doing a lot of great things already to keep it pretty under control. Then I decided to check out Viome, and I did their full intelligence test, which included a saliva sample to test my oral microbiome, a stool sample to test my gut microbiome, and blood work to test my blood for all of the vitamins and nutrients that I need to have optimal health. After that test, they gave me a readout of all my findings, and I was able to sign up for a subscription-based probiotic, prebiotic, and multivitamin. And so I signed up for those. They sent them to me. I started to take them. I had no idea what to expect. But within 3 months, my C-reactive protein, my CRP measures went from 12 down to 3. Now, they've always bounced around a little bit, but for me, that was an incredible reduction in inflammation in my body. But not only did my markers show reduced inflammation, there were symptoms that I noticed that had gone away. For instance, I had brain fog, and I didn't even realize I had brain fog. I just thought, sometimes I forget stuff. That's sort of my norm. Until all of a sudden, things became so clear. My memory tripled in its ability to remember things, recall things, multitask. It was amazing. I felt like this this cloud had literally been lifted, and I didn't even realize that it had been there all that time. Also, for me, my stomach was silent. I wasn't even aware that it was there. And for someone who has a bowel disease, that truly is a gift. So I do not get paid for saying this, but I just cannot tell you enough what an amazing difference taking these probiotics and prebiotics has made for me. If you do not want to do custom probiotics and prebiotics, or if you find it expensive and not something you're willing to invest in, totally fine. I do, however, recommend getting some probiotics. The trick, of course, is that not all probiotics are created equal, and it's hard to know which ones you are lacking if you don't get a test done to figure that out. However, you could always use trial and error by trying different types of probiotics, for 2 to 3 months at a time, one at a time, and see which one makes a difference for you. So it might take a little bit more detective work, but definitely if you have an autoimmune disease, then probiotics truly are a must, because your gut bacteria is out of whack and it needs to be brought back into balance. One probiotic I will recommend trying is called Akkermansia muciniphila. I've talked about this as well on previous episodes. You can go back and check that out if you want to learn more. But I add my probiotics to my smoothie to make sure that I'm sending lots of love to my gut. And then I'm ready to blend it up. And that's it. When it's all blended up, I like to pick a fun cup to have my smoothie in, like a mason jar. If you have little tiki umbrellas, you could always throw one in. I figure, why not make it fun? Make it feel like I'm having a fruity beverage on a tropical island, especially on a cold February morning. And that's it. I have the ingredients on hand. I can always switch things up, switch up the fruit that I'm using to give it a shake. Sometimes if I'm out of bananas, I will swap that out for half of an avocado. It also makes it creamy and is full of amazing vitamins and nutrients to keep my body healthy. That's it for today. Hope you enjoy this immune-loving smoothie, and until next time, stay healthy.